Hello, Greenhouse family. It's the Collins family here. We are back in Miamisburg. So, some of you know we moved to Texas and a couple year or so ago, and now we're back. So, yeah, it's a crazy time to come back. We came back and got settled in our house, I think, a couple days before the whole quarantine hit. So, we have been hunkering down and sad that we can't meet and see you all, but we're excited to see everyone soon. So yeah, we just wanted to just jump on here and say hello and to just kind of share a God story from this past week.
Yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but this whole quarantine thing is very strange. And so we are dealing with that whole adjusting as well. So we literally moved up from Dallas like 2 or 3 days before the whole required shutdown went into effect. And so, with the newness of the house, and we're living in a little bit of a construction zone, and just things not being what we anticipated in terms of being able to see family and all that, it has just been odd. And with that adjustment comes discomfort and the frustration that comes with that, and all that. So, cool God story from this past week. So, we are revamping our bathroom. So, we bought a house here in Miamisburg and we are gutting the bathroom. So we have made probably 10 trips to Lowe's and Home Depot and all that over the past week. And we went a couple of days ago to the Lowe's up in Troutwood because it was the closest location that had the tub and tub surround that we needed. And so if you guys think of a tub surround, like the big, the length of the wall, the length of the tub, that long piece of tub surround that like surrounds your shower wall, right? It's about 5 foot long, and we measured it thinking that it would fit into our Honda Odyssey minivan, and it was a comical showing, to say the least, after we bought it and we're attempting to stuff this thing into the van in the parking lot. So I made the comment, like, we're on each end of it trying to like maneuver this thing into the van, and
we unboxed it also. So.
Yeah. It's not fitting. It was too long by an inch, and so we made the comment of something like, "This is like the world's worst game of Tetris that we are failing miserably at." And some guy walking by, we heard him laugh, and I looked up, and it was a guy, again, coincidentally, was just walking through the parking lot. And like, it's funny now in hindsight. At the time, I was pretty frustrated. I think she was handling it better than I was, but anyway, this guy stopped by and basically just offered to drive it down here, which is 30 minutes away and 30 minutes out of his way, for us because he had a truck. And so it was awesome. We didn't talk to him much at the time. We talked to him enough to know that, okay, trustworthy for you to drive this thing down to our house, and at this point we're willing to accept whatever help. That's great. And so we said yes. So as we get in our vehicle to drive down, I just felt like the Lord was convicting me a little bit about, number one, being so frustrated about just small stuff in the grand scheme of life, and this being Easter week and what He has done for us, and so it was a gentle reminder that He's in control and cares for us, and I felt specifically what He was giving me conviction about was, do you believe that I'm sovereign? Do you believe in Romans 8:28 that says, I work all things together for the good of those who love me? And I do believe that. And that was my answer to him at that time. And the next thing he brought to mind was then Hebrews 12. I think it's 1 through 2, where he talks about how Jesus endured the cross for the joy that was set before him. So even though he was obviously going through, and again, comparatively speaking, there is no comparison, right? Like the night before he was to be crucified in the Garden of Gethsemane, he is praying and literally sweating drops of blood because he's so stressed out because he knows what's about to happen. And he asked God, like, hey, will you remove this cup from me? But if not, your will be done. And I appreciate, and again, this came to mind during that time, but I appreciate that story because it's a reminder that he knew he was uncomfortable. He knew what he was going through. He didn't want to be going through. And yet to glorify the Lord and to be obedient to Him. He was willing to do so because he trusted that God the Father does work all things together for the good. He is sovereign. And so it was a pleasant reminder. And so back to the Crazy Lowe's story. So we're in the car. I feel like God gave me a little bit of peace of mind about that. And then I was like, all right, well, everything happens for a reason. This wasn't coincidental. Now I'm shifting more into how can I love you and love this other guy. So give me words to say, strike up a conversation that's glorifying to you. Help me just know how to navigate this discussion when I get back to the house and talk with this guy again. And so we get back to the house, we unload the tub surround, and I asked the guy, I said, hey, it's pretty unusual this day and age for somebody just out of the goodness of their heart to do something like this. So I've got to ask, are you a Christian by chance? And he got a big smile on his face, and he said, yeah. And he said, in fact, he said, I knew I was not going to accept any money from you if you offered, but I was going to tell you that I needed to ask you one question, and that's, if you were to die tonight, where would you spend your eternity? And so, we instantly realized that we're both believers. In fact, he went to Apex for several years, which we did too. And again, we just laughed about, again, God is sovereign, and God sees us in our discomfort, and he is working all things together for our good. Even the craziness of the small details of whatever it is that we're going through and whatever it is that you all are going through right now, of trying to homeschool your kiddos or trying to not go stir crazy by not being able to get out and do your normal stuff, right? Like, you guys are probably going crazy for the same reasons that we are. But again, as Hebrews says, that for the joy set before us, we can endure. We can run our race. We can accept the circumstances as something from the hand of a sovereign God who has allowed this to transpire, and he's working in the midst of it for our good. So we share that silly story about how we should have obviously measured twice before trying to fit this thing in our van. But you know what? In hindsight, I'm glad that we didn't, because it has been used in our life as an awesome reminder from the Lord that, hey, he's sovereign. He's in the middle of our circumstances. He loves us. He can be trusted, and so that we can endure. We can run our race for the joy set before us. And so that is our encouragement and challenge to you all to do the same in the midst of these crazy times. And as Ashley said, we are so glad to be back up from Texas. Can't wait to see you all. We love you all.